All right, students, this note is for 12-4, representing algebraic relationships in tables and graphs. Basically, what you're going to do today are multiple things. First, you're going to find out how to find out a missing number so that the pattern between, this is going to be x and the y, okay? X value and the y value are being consistent, okay? And then using those numbers, we're going to talk about how to plot points and also write an equation, okay? We're going to practice another set of problems like that here. Complete the table, figure out the pattern. They graphed it, but we're going to talk about the graphing and then writing the equation. And then we're going to finish it off by, sometimes they give you the equation and they want you to graph using the equation. In other words, you need to find out the x and y values in an ordered pair using the equation. We're going to talk about how to do that and then plot the points. And then we're going to finish with the last problem. So we are going to do pages 16, 17, and 18. So it's 3 pages long, and I will try to make it as simple as possible for you. Okay, I'll try my best. Okay. All right, so let us go ahead and start with the first example. So it says Angie's walking speed is 5 kilometers per hour. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Angie walks 5 kilometers per hour. Okay, so 5 kilometers per hour. That means 10 kilometers for 2 hours. Okay, that means 0 kilometers in 0 hour. I hope that makes sense to you. Then it also says May's walking speed is 4 kilometers per hour. So if you take a look at this one, May's distance, obviously 0 hours, 0 kilometers, 1 hour, 4 kilometers, because it says 4 kilometers per hour. Per hour means 1. So then 2 hours, 8 kilometers. We're going to fill in the blanks here. Okay. So just to make it more clear, I'm going to go ahead and write A for Angie and for May. All right. Now, let's go ahead and find out the pattern. But before doing that, I do want to give you the variables x and y that are represented by the time and the distance in this case. I'm just going to throw it out and just give it to you, okay? Because you need the x value and the y value, x coordinate and the y coordinate later on to be able to graph Angie and May's speed, all right? If you take a look at this graph here, this is the x-axis and it says it's the time. So even that lets you know that x is a time. And the y-axis, it says distance, which is the distance here. So the distance is the y value, okay, the y coordinate. Same thing for May. Time is the x and distance is the y, okay? All right, so let's take a look here. Obviously, 0 hour, 0 distance. Okay, now this one right here is the one that is given in this information. It says 5 kilometers per hour, 5 kilometers in 1 hour. Okay, so then 2 kilometers, 10 hours. How did you get that information? What is the relationship between x and y? The question you want to ask is this: what do you do to x to get y? Okay, how do you get y? How did you get 5? What did you do to this number? Hopefully you see that the pattern is 1 times 5 gives you 5. So the relationship is x times 5 gives you the value of y. So then if you look here, isn't that the same thing? Aren't you multiplying by 5? 2 times 5 is 10. So then what would you do here? 3 times 5 is 15. And 4 times 5 is 20. Okay? One thing I want you to be careful is do not look at the pattern going across. If you go across, that pattern doesn't work. Here's the reason. You might think, oh, it's increasing by 5. But for that to work, from here to here needs to increase by 5 as well, but that's not happening. Whenever you're looking for a pattern, the pattern needs to be, what are you doing to X in order to get Y? And the clear pattern is X times 5 gives you Y. Do you know how to write that using an equation? We're going to talk about it in a little bit, but basically Y, you get Y, 5, so Y equals 5 times whatever X is, right? Y, 1 times 5 gives you the 5 right here. 2 times 5 gives you 10. 3 times 5 gives you 15. Whatever X is, if you multiply by 5, you get the Y for Maize distance. Okay, so with that, let's actually go to the bottom and graph. Okay, so here I have the X value and the Y value for NG. Okay, so these are the order pairs. So for example, this would be 0, 0, 1, 5. Okay, let me actually write some for you. 0, 0, 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15, and 4, 20. Let's plot the points. 0, 0, 1, 5. So you kind of have to use approximate value. So between 4 and 8, this is 6. So 5 would be right in between. So 1, 5, 2, 10, 3, 15, 4, 20. All right, and we're going to connect the points, okay? So it says for each grade, make a graph showing her distance y as it depends on time, which is x, plot points and connect them with the line. So we are going to, I plotted the points. Now I'm going to connect with the line. Let me get out my straight edge, which is like an index card. Okay, so I'm going to draw a line and hopefully you guys realize a pattern. It's a straight line. So if you do this correctly, it should give you a straight line. If you're not getting a straight line, like let's say one of the points is somewhere else, you did something wrong. So you need to go back and check your numbers, okay? All right, so with that, now let's go ahead and try Maize distance, okay? So for Maize distance, let's see if we can find a pattern. It says Maize speed is 4 kilometers per hour. So obviously, again, if you go for 0 time, it's you walk 0 distance. And then the one that is given is for 1 hour, 4 kilometers. It says 4 kilometers per hour, okay? 2 kilometers, 8 hours. What is the relationship? What are you doing to this number to get that number? What are you doing to this number to get that number? Hopefully you see that this is times 4. Whatever x is, 1 times 4 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. So then if you do 3 times 4, 12. And 4 times 4, 16. What is the equation? To get y, what did you have to do to x? You had to multiply x times 4. So the equation will be y equals 4 times x. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and grab Maize Distance, or I'm sorry, Maize Speed, okay? So for Maize Speed, let's first write the order pairs. 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. 0, 0, 1, 4, 2, 8, 3, 12, 4, 16. Okay, and we're gonna connect. Okay. And again, I know I did it correctly because it's giving me a straight line. All right. Now, what is Angie's equation? So before that, I do want to talk about two important parts here. When you're writing an equation always starts with the variable y. So you want to say y equals, and then what do you do with x? Okay, are you multiplying x times a number? Are you adding x plus something? Are you subtracting? Are you dividing? Okay. Any point on the line is the solution. What they're saying is basically this. Any of these represent Angie's speed, and any of these represents May's speed. That's what they're saying. Okay. So for Angie's equation, it is y is, so her distance is 5 times the time, 5 times x. While May's equation is y equals 4 times x. Okay. All right. How can you use the tables to determine, we're gonna skip that part just because we have so much to do. Okay. So let's go ahead and actually go to the next page. Okay. So we are now on page 17. Okay. Now, even on page 17, I already X'd out the bottom portion, so we're just going to talk about the top, okay? However, I do want to ask you for a favor. This was supposed to be a table, but when it was when we made copies, it didn't make a clear copy. So what I would like for you to do is if you can make a table like this, okay? So then here's 0, 5, 5, 10, 10, 10, 15, and maybe we'll do just a couple more, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and read this problem, and then we will go over A, B, and C, okay? And we're gonna talk about how this page is a little bit different. The equation is different from the other page, the one that we just did, okay? Charis, okay, hopefully that was the right name, pays the entrance fee to visit a museum. So she pays an entrance fee. Maybe it's $10 to visit. Maybe it's $20 to visit. We'll see. Then buys souvenirs at the gift shop. The table shows the relationship between the total amount she spends, which is right here, at the museum, and the amount she spends at the gift shop. Write an equation to represent the relationship. So we're not gonna just write it. We need to find some numbers here. So we're gonna go through A through A, B, and C. Let's just take a look here. It says, read the order pairs from the graph. Use them to complete a table comparing total spent, which is Y. So total spent is Y, to amount spent at the gift shop, X. So they're telling you right here that this is X and this is Y. But how else do you know? If you look here, it says gift shop amount is in the X axis. This is the X. Total amount is the y-axis, so that's the y. So there's multiple ways you'll know which value is x and y. Also, most of the time, top number is the x and the bottom number is the y, but not always, okay? All right, so let's study this these numbers that are given and see if we can figure out the pattern. What is the pattern in the table? I'm gonna ignore this part. I'm not going to look at the graph and try to complete the table. We're gonna see if we can figure it out by looking at the pattern, okay? If you spend $0 at the gift shop, the total amount you spent is $5. And then if you spend $5 at the gift shop, the total amount that you spent was 10. What's going on? What is going on here? Now, remember, you need to look at a pattern, not going across, but you need to be looking at, for example, this one, okay? You need to know what are you doing to X to get Y, okay? And that has to work for all of the values here, all right? So then what am I doing to 5 to get 10? I can think of two things. The first one is X times 2 is 10. Okay, right? Just like the previous one where I multiplied X times 5 or X times 4. So I'm asking myself, maybe it is X times 2 is 10. How do you know for sure? Well, let me try with this other one. Because if that's the correct pattern, that should work for every value. So I'm gonna do 0 times 2. But 0 times 2 is 0. Oh, you know what that means? That means this pattern does not work. What's another pattern that I can think of? What do you do to X5 to get 10? You can also add 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. Let's see if that works. 0 plus 5 is 5. So maybe the pattern is X plus 5. Okay? Now, so let's actually take a look at the graph. I have 0, 5 here. I have 4. No, that's 5, 10 here. What would be this point? That would be 9. Is that looks like 15? Oh, but that's not quite 9. See, so it's hard to look at the graph. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little lost here. Okay, but you see why I wanted to ignore this direction and I wanted to look at the pattern? Okay, that's the reason. Okay, sometimes it is not too easy to figure out the order pair from the graph because this was not a very clear picture. Okay, so I did that on purpose just so you know. Okay, so the pattern hopefully you can see is this. Y is. What you're doing is whatever X is, you need to add 5 to that. Such as 0 plus 5 gives you 5. 5 plus 5 gives you 10. So let's do the rest of the numbers. 10 plus 5 is 15. 15 plus 5 is 20. Now, why don't we try 2 random numbers? So, but before that, let's try to figure out that you understand the meaning of it. The gift shop amount, if you spend no money buying souvenirs, the total amount you spend at the museum is 5. That's because the entrance fee is $5, okay? But if you spend $5 at the gift shop, then gift shop plus the entrance fee, your total is 10. If you spend $10 at the gift shop, total amount is 15. $15 at the gift shop, total amount will be 20. So let's just say you spend $18 at the gift shop. What will be the total amount that you spend? 18 plus 5, 23. I'm just coming up with random numbers. What if you spend $21 at the gift shop? What will be your total amount spent? 21 plus 5, 21 plus 5, $26. Okay, so what is the pattern here? The pattern is the total amount, which is the Y, is always $5 plus the gift shop amount. Or the gift shop amount plus 5. Doesn't matter which order, okay? So in other words, what is the equation? When you write an equation, you always start with y. What is the equation that expresses the total amount spent, y, in terms of the amount spent at the gift shop, x? All it's saying is put y equals and then write what are you doing to x. You have two ways to write it. You can say gift shop amount plus 5, or y equals $5 plus the gift shop amount. That means the same thing, okay? All right, now, let's see if these points will match. We're not gonna do these. Well, maybe we'll try, we'll see. I don't know. Okay, so this would be 0, 0. The next one will be 5, 10, 10, 15, 15, 20, 18, 23, and 21, 26, okay? 0, 5, that seems about 5, 10, 10, 15, so 10 is here. This must be 15, yes, because this is 14, so 15. 15, 20, so 12, 14, 16, so 15 is right in the middle here. 15, 20, that's correct. 18, 23, where would that be? 18 is here. 23 would probably be around right about here, because this is 22, that's 24, so it has to be slightly under, okay? This one looks like 20, 25. 20 plus 5 is 25, okay? Okay, so my graph looks pretty good, okay, except for that one, it had to be just a little bit lower. All right, now I want to talk about a pattern here though, okay? I want to give you a nice clue. So you see how for this one, your equation was y equals x times a number, right? 5 times x, or x times 5. Here, your equation was y equals x plus 5. Okay, look at your 0. When x is 0, here y is 5, right? On the previous page, when x is 0, y is also 0. I'm going to give you a very nice clue. If your x and y values are 0, 0, okay, so if your x and y values are 0, 0, then it'll be y equals x times a number, or y would be x divided by a number. What I'm saying is, if your x and y values are 0, 0, your equation is gonna be either y equals x times a number, or y equals x divided by a number, okay? In this case, they were both times, okay? And it doesn't matter whether you say x times a number or times a number times x, okay? But if when x is 0, y is not 0. So if x is 0, but y is something other than 0, then your equation would be y equals either x plus a number, or it'll be y equals x minus a number. That's going to be a pattern that you're going to see. All right? So hopefully that made sense to you, okay? Because then you kind of know what direction to look for. So if you see 0, 5, you already know that you don't need to look for multiplying or dividing pattern. It's going to be adding or subtracting. But if your 0, 0 is your starting point, then you don't have to look for plus or minus. You need to look for multiplying or dividing pattern, okay? Sometimes they don't give you 0 information at all. Then you have to look at it, look at all choices, all possibilities, all right? Okay, we're almost done. We're doing the last page, page 18, okay? All right, so represent an order pair. We know that an order pair, x comma y, that makes an equation such as y equals x plus 1 true is called a solution of an equation. So what they're saying is this, a point. You know how xy gives you a point, okay? This order pair that when you plug in the numbers for x and y based on what numbers you get here, and if you get a true equation, so like y equals x plus 1, those values work out to be equal to each other, it's called a solution of the equation, okay? Graph of an equation represents all of the order pairs that are solutions. What they're saying is this, all of these numbers, all of the x and y coordinates, okay? If you plug it in, substitute it in this equation and solve, they should be equal to each other. I'll show you what I mean by that in case you don't understand, okay? So sometimes you're going to have an equation like this, okay? That you need to, by looking at the equation, you need to figure out your order pairs, several of them, and use those order pairs to plot points and graph. So that's what this lesson is about, okay? So it says graph each equation, and then the equation that they gave you for A is y equals x plus 1. So what I would like for you to do is take a couple steps. Step 1, first you're gonna make a table of values. I would like for you to make 3-column table and have about 3 or 4 of these rows, and we are going to look for the order pairs x comma y by solving this equation. You're gonna choose some values for x, any random numbers, but the easier numbers the better, and use the equation to find the corresponding values for y. Once you do that, you're gonna write the order pairs here, the x and y numbers, the coordinates, and plot the points right here. And it does say draw a line through the plotted points to represent all of the order pair solutions of the equation. Okay, so let me show you what they mean by that. So I'm gonna choose some random values of x for this equation. Now, I want you to notice, just for my convenience, instead of y equals x plus 1, I switched it and put x plus 1 equals y, okay? So for x, I'm gonna just choose any numbers that I want to use for the value of x here. But I'm going to choose these numbers, 0, I don't know, 1, 3, and 4. Okay, why did I choose those numbers? Why did I not choose 10 or 12 or 14 or larger numbers? Here's why. I know I need to graph here, and I know these are gonna be my x coordinates, right? Well, my graph only shows from 0 to 5. So if I choose another x that's like, let's say 8, I have to go outside of my coordinate plane right here. So that's why. So it's just me using strategy, okay? Now what I'm going to do is for each of these values of x, I'm going to substitute it here and solve for y. So take a look. Here, x is 0. I came up with that number, okay? So I'm gonna put 0 and I'm going to put plus 1 equals, well, that's gonna be my y. What is that? It's 1. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 1. So my x comma y would be when x is 0, y is 1. I know not everybody understood that so far, but let's do the next one. What happens when x is 1? So I'm gonna write 1 plus 1, what is that? That's 2. So that means when x is 1, y is 2. Is that making more sense? What about when x is 3? Now, why did I skip 2? Just because, okay? When x is 3, so 3 plus 1, which is 4. So when x is 3, y is 4. And the last one, when x is 4, what is y? X plus 1 equals 5. So when x is 4, y is 5. Now I have several numbers to plot here, so let's go ahead and do that. X is 0, y is 1. When x is 1, y is 2. When x is 3, y is 4. And when x is 4, y is 5. Okay, now draw the line, a straight line. And you can see that they're straight line, which means I know I did it correctly. Okay. All right, almost done. We have one more example. This time the equation says y equals x plus 2.5. Okay. Same value of x. So I'm still gonna choose my x values within here. All right. So, and again, same thing. I put x plus 2.5 equals y. Like that. I switched it around, but it's the same thing. So I'm gonna choose 0. I'll do 1. This time I'll do just 1, 2, 3. Okay, no reason. Okay, so I'm gonna substitute 0 for x. So 0 plus 2.5 is y. What is that? That's 2.5. So when x is 0, y is 2 and 5/10. What happens when x is 1? 1 plus 2.5, 2 and 5/10 is 3.5. So when x is 1, y is 3.5. What about when x is 2? 2 plus 2.5, which is 4.5. So when x is 2, y is gonna be 4.5. Last one. When x is 3 plus 2.5, so my y is gonna be 5.5. So when x is 3, y is 5.5. Okay, let's plot the points. So when x is 0, y is 2.5, right about here. When x is 1, y is 3.5. When x is 2, y is 4.5. And when x is 3, y is 5.5. Let's connect them and see if I did it correctly. And it looks like I did. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.